Now it's time for us to have our conversation with the Green Warrior of the Day. Now he is 19-year-old Alexander Nyang'iti. He's the winner of the 2024-2025 Climate Advocates versus Unidas Climate Innovation Challenge. Of course, a brilliant young man, a brilliant mind. And today we are going to be focusing on innovation in climate action. So we'd get into this particular conversation right away. He is a climate innovator and the best person to be having this conversation with. Thank you so much for coming and congratulations on your big win.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
How does it feel to win this climate prize?
Amazing, and really I just look forward to basically growing this project and seeing where it takes me and where it takes the climate.
All right, Alexander, you're 19 years old, and of course, winning such a big prize, it must be so, such a moment of pride for your parents, for the country as well. Tell us more about your project.
So my project is called Forest Nukes,
okay.
And I came up with it while I was in high school. And basically, it's a reforestation technique that I got from two existing techniques. Mm-hmm. One is the Miyawaki method that is in Japan, developed by the Japanese botanist Akira Miyawaki.
Okay.
And the other is used in Kenya already, and it's called seed balling technique.
Right.
So my idea came from combining these two existing techniques into something that can basically bring up forests at a faster rate.
Amazing. Of course, now that you've won this particular climate prize, what next for you? How does it help you? How does it help you to take the project forward and be able to implement it?
So now that I've won this prize, I've received also a lot of exposure from it.
Yes.
And we are planning to have a pilot test at
Amazing.
My former school, Alliance High School, and in that pilot, it will be done in phases where we'll be preparing the ground, implementing it and testing all the three different techniques, including my forest nukes, to see which one will come out the best. Then we'll be able to also gather more data and basically draw better conclusions on how we're going to approach it and be able to scale it up later on in the future. And currently I'm also doing a book mm-hmm. based on the project.
Wow.
Yes, and the book will be launched officially on the 12th of August, International Youth Day, mm-hmm. at Kavu Africa's dinner. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Brilliant. And when we talk about innovation, when we talk about climate in a nutshell, do you think that there are particular projects that you wish people knew more about?
Yes, I do. For example, the Miyawaki technique.
Yes.
It's a project that has been there for a while.
Tell us more about it, because people who are watching at home, they might not understand exactly what you mean by that. So in layman's language, as simply as possible, you can just put it together for people to understand better.
Awesome. So for the Miyawaki technique, the whole idea is to plant trees as close as possible.
Okay.
And when you plant trees as close as possible, there's competition. Mm-hmm. Most people will think that competition is bad for nature, for trees. However, in this case, competition is what will force the trees to grow faster as they compete for sunlight and for nutrients. It will force them to grow faster, and eventually you're going to have a natural forest that better resembles a more natural rainforest than what we get at the traditional tree planting ways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you see in the traditional tree planting that we do at campaigns, the trees are normally spaced out in intervals. Now in that sense, there's no competition. And since there's no competition, the trees won't, there'll be a lower survival rate for the trees.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. Now, when it comes to climate innovation, how exactly can the average Kenyan support such projects? What can they do to be able to take these projects further and see the light of day?
So what could Kenyans do?
Yes.
And for that, I'll say that basically it's all about engaging more with the community.
Okay.
And bringing this story to your local community, more so through, I'll say, preferably visual storytelling, because that's a very effective way to communicate your idea to other people. And through the communication, you're able to get more people on board, get more people to understand what you want to do, get more people to see what you envision.
Okay, so you, of course, you are up against lots of people from other parts of the world, right? And this is a competition that you took part in, and you decided to, pitch and do your level best as a Kenyan. So when you are out there, or, maybe you've been able to interact with people from different countries, or you've been able to see their projects, is that something that has happened? And if yes, how exactly do you think Kenya is faring along with regards to all the other countries? How is the competition and how is the innovation in Kenya currently when you compare it to all the other countries in the world?
I would say that in other countries in the world, there is more space to explore your idea, however simple it may seem. And I also say that in Kenya, there's a lot of climate action among the youth. But maybe one thing that is not getting us where we are supposed to be is that we look too much into the negative side of climate news, and we are not looking at now the positive side, where we get to see how many projects out there around the world are doing. And basically we're just blinded by when people say that climate change is happening, global warming is real, the temperatures are rising, recording the highest temperatures of the year, instead of maybe in Japan, there's this kind of projects going on. We should take it up upon ourselves to try it here in Kenya. Why not?
Oh, okay, interesting. So when it comes to the youth and climate action, you have said that there is a lot that's happening in the country, especially with the youth. Maybe you can take us through some of these projects that you've seen, or you've been a part of, or you've been able to participate in, and just enlighten people who are watching, so that we know that a lot is being done when it comes to climate action in the country. And you're the best person to tell us more about this.
So in Kenya, what I've seen is a project that I'm a fan of is one by Jijenge makers, where they take plastic and basically they recycle it into bricks that can be used in construction.
We've actually featured them, by the way, and it's a brilliant, brilliant story. It's a brilliant organization, and they're doing some great work. So that's a great example.
Definitely. And also maybe one more, might not remember the name exactly, but it's in the coast, where they gather up sandals, flip-flops.
Yes, I've seen that as well.
And create art out of the waste, basically. It's really creative and innovative solutions, and really inspiring.
Okay, so when you see all these people doing great things out there when it comes to climate action, when it comes to going green, recycling, how does it inspire you, and how does it give you hope to also try and do better, and of course also incorporate all the little things that when it comes to climate innovation, and to make sure that you're able to execute these projects and make them come to life?
What inspires me the most when I see other people do their part in climate action is that what they're doing are really simple ideas. And that really speaks to me, considering that my project isn't one that requires a NASA budget or isn't too technical or too complex. I just get inspired by seeing how you can convert your simple idea into something that can make an impact. Okay,
brilliant. Do you think that we have way too much faith in technology at the moment as we speak? Because you've said that you don't need to have huge budgets. For example, your particular project, a lot can be done and in very simple ways. But do you think that we're really complicating things when it comes to climate innovation and climate action?
Yes, I do. And actually, one controversial opinion that I hold is that, for example, when it comes to reforestation, we are focusing too much on bringing in trees and not conserving the ones that are already there.
Okay.
So I feel like the space of of bringing in technology in climate action, it's good, but also it should not be the only plan A that we have. We should also be focused on ideas that can be implemented easily into the community, ideas that the community can understand and adapt locally.
Okay, okay. Now, when we talk about challenges that we are currently experiencing as a nation when it comes to climate action, technology, resources, policies as well, what do you think are some of the greatest challenges that we have in Kenya when it comes to climate innovation?
One major thing is that the youth aren't, the voices aren't really being heard when it comes to climate action.
Okay.
They don't really have that kind of capacity. For example, this challenge, it should be accessed by every school around Kenya.
Right.
Right? And I only got to participate in it when it was introduced to my school. I never knew about it.
Oh.
But how about the schools that are not exposed to such competitions? I feel like that's a gap that we are lacking, that we are having. And if we are able to basically expose the youth in such competitions, such platforms, we are able to get plenty solutions from us.
All right. And what role do you think the government plays? You know, you have funders, you have regulators, you also have people out here who are the middlemen between you, as you said, the youth, and of course the government. So what do you think needs to be done to bridge this particular gap? And how exactly do you think that your voices would be heard? What are the solutions that you could possibly come up with? So
the solution is, as I said, more exposure to to such competitions and such platforms, and even the conferences that go on, because there are plenty of conferences concerning climate action, climate advocacy, where people can get a chance to voice their ideas. Or not only, you don't have to be the one to have the idea, just being present in such places and listening to what's already there, you'll be able to get inspired to either come up with your own or adapt what you've had and bring it back home. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. When we come to look at climate innovation as a whole, right? Maybe you could tell us some of the other promising climate technologies or innovations that you've come across in the country that are necessarily your project, of course, maybe your peers or other people that you think, you know, this could be something that is very interesting and could potentially be effective in the country.
I will take the example from a previous participant of the challenge.
Okay.
She's called Zainab Mohammed, and she also won an award in the Climate Innovation Challenge. Her idea was about having solar tuk-tuks. Basically, it's all about renewable energy. Yeah. Yeah, and reducing air pollution through transiting into renewable energy. So that's one project that I think, if adapted, could really help reduce air pollution, which was, I think that was the question that you had asked.
Yes,
yeah, the why, yeah. So that's one thing that is inspiring that I think will really go for.
Okay, brilliant. Alexander, you're only 19 years old, right? I'm sure your parents are super proud of you and all the great work that you're doing. As a family, how do you try and stay sustainable? Because over here, we always try and inspire families who are watching, viewers who are watching as well, on what they can do and how they're able to contribute to going green. So maybe you can give us some few ways as a family of things that you do that could really just also inspire someone watching at home to be able to go green and to be able to try and move towards sustainability.
It's really, really basic things, to be honest. And basically things that you might be doing that you really never take note of. Something like not purchasing foodstuffs in plastic packages, or closing the tap after you're using it.
Yes.
Yeah, basic things like those, when you compound them, they will really, you'll be reducing your carbon footprint at the end of it. Yeah.
And of course, it all adds up, right?
It all
At
adds
the end
up.
of the day,
It all
because
adds up.
if everybody does something
Yeah.
to reduce the carbon footprint, it also really just enables the entire world
Yeah.
to be able to live greener and to be able to enjoy cleaner air and curbs pollution at the end of the day. Okay, brilliant. You know, when it comes to your view on our big why tonight, so what methods do you use personally to curb air pollution?
To curb air pollution, I'll say that I bike. I ride my bike.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that way, I don't use the transport. Less fossil fuels being burnt up in the air.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. So I also love biking because you get to feel the air, the breeze. You get to.
And we have some great air in the country.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So I remember every time I travel, I look at it's called the pollution index. And it tells you how much pollution there is in the air in different parts of the world. So in India, there's a place called Delhi. It's the capital of India. It is highly polluted, one of the most polluted countries in the world. It was up to 70%. And I compared it to Nairobi, where Nairobi was just 7%.
Wow.
That's the amount of pollution that we have in our city, in our country. So it's nice to see that, you know, you as a young individual, you also take all these things into account and you're trying your level best to do things that will make sure that we're not really polluting the environment. So that's good on you. When it comes to your peers, when it comes to people who are your age, do you think that Gen Zs in general, or just, you know, the younger generation, the youth, are more aware of pollution, more aware of the current situation when it comes to climate change, global warming, all these things that we're seeing ahead of us? Do you think that the youth knows that this is what's happening and they know that this is what they need to do to be able to prevent all these drastic changes in the world?
Yes. Yes, they do know that climate change is happening.
Yes.
And at this age, at this point in time, I believe that everyone in the world knows about climate, knows about global warming. Majority of people know about that. But now the question is on taking action, taking your step, taking a personal initiative. I feel like that's where we are lacking, because we know what's wrong, but we don't know what to do on our part.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, you know, when you go back to school, or if you would like to have a conversation from people who are in your school at Alliance, what would you like to tell them? And how would you like to speak to them in a way that they're also able to take action, to be able to just also do their bit? So are you going to be having conversations with them? Are you going to be having, you know, just interactions with them on how to also be a part of the Going Green movement?
Yes. Following my pilot that will be done at Alliance,
Oh,
I'll
lovely.
also be meeting up with a team from Environmental Club.
Yes.
At my school, where I'll be basically guiding them through how the idea works.
Okay.
And since I won't be on ground every other day, they'll take it up upon themselves to also bring in their own ideas into how they can improve the forest mix concept. And I'll be interacting with them a number of times, just training them, also encouraging them to participate in such competitions that I did. And yeah, so far even I've been able to visit them, speak to them as an alumni, and it's been a really engaging conversation that I had with them.
Okay, okay, nice. So if you were to speak to the youth right now, you know, people who are watching at home, people who are inspired by you and are looking up to you, what would you like to tell them? And, you know, if you were to have a one-on-one conversation with someone who really doesn't know anything about climate action, about climate innovation, they don't know where to start, how would you guide them?
So first of all, to the youth, I would say that as much as there's a lot of negative climate news around in social media. There's also the positive climate news.
Yes.
I feel like that's where we should be looking or putting our eyes onto, and basically we should get inspired by such, not feel crowded by all the critics and all the posts that we see concerning how global warming is affecting us. Yes, it's true, it's there, but we should also look into the solutions that we have already. Yeah.
Okay.
And for the second question, it was.
So I had asked you, if someone doesn't know where to go, and what avenues to look at to be able to start trying to go green, where can they reach you, or if there's an organization that you're part of, how can they participate?
Right. So they can participate in the organizations are plenty. The challenges are plenty out there. It's all about basically looking for them.
Okay.
Because they're there, and they're always running, and they're on social media.
Are you on social media?
I am on social media.
Maybe you could give your handles and how they can reach you.
Okay, my Instagram handle is Alexander Odyssey, but if you just search up Alexander Nyang'iti, which is my name, you'll find me there.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much. I had a great time talking to you and of course having this conversation. I really like to see people like you, young people who are doing their own best. They're doing what they can. The effort is there, the interest is there, the passion is there. And it's very nice to see that you're also influencing and encouraging other young people to take part and be able to just contribute to this going green movement that we're all about. We're very passionate about Mother Earth and, of course, nature in general and the environment. So keep it up.
Thank you.
Congratulations once again for winning the Climate Prize, and all the very best in future in being able to execute this particular project that you've been working on. And we hope to see it come to life, and we hope to see it being successful.
Awesome. And stay tuned also for the book.
Okay, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Your book as well.
Yes.
What is it going to be called?
It's going to be called Alexander Nyang'iti,
Yeah.
Innovating a Sustainable Tomorrow.
Brilliant. Congratulations, and keep shining.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And of course, with that, we'd like to take you back to the big why. The question is, which methods do you use to curb air pollution? So we have some views.